Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Respect the Game podcast. My name is Edward, named after a great man, that being my father. Shout out to my mother and grandmother for helping raise me too. Please make sure you go follow at Emacs Stats for all your up-to-date high school, pro, and collegiate sports coverage. We'll keep you up to date on all that is going on in the beautiful sports world. And right now, it looks like we are on 3-on-3, but our brother Shine is should be joining us momentarily. So you are looking forward to a great episode of us being at full strength.
Yo, we the big league, we the big three, like we started the league. Let's go, baby. It's the one and only Black Peace, the host with the most that blows the most smoke. Uh, be sure to go check out Talking Smoke on Apple Podcasts, Spotify with the reruns. You know how that get down, man. Um, let's go.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. It is I, the one and only Sedacious Miles. And on behalf of me and my team, we just want to say thank you so much for supporting us. Please go follow me at I am Sedacious. That's IAMSEDATAIOUS on Instagram and also on Twitter. And please go check out coopbeat.com. That's coopbeat.com. Let's go, Brody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. First up on the rundown, we have To Be Honest.
Man, to be honest, Homeboy was fresh, man. Let's not play right now. Homeboy was fresh.
I knew he was gonna
Let's
get
let's let's be
somewhere.
honest. Homeboy was fresh. From the
Homeboy,
polo
no,
shirt
homeboy says,
to the crease pants to the New Balance with that matched it all.
right,
Let's
right.
Homeboy was fresh.
By every means, he was fresh. Sorry, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's a culture thing, and some people just don't, you know.
What set
Some
it
people
off from
think,
that outfit that you think made it like locked in fresh?
I don't know. I think that the whole thing was just North Carolina out
I
was
think one
irritating.
I think one in particular thing that our generation can all agree upon, especially if you're from Texas, the crease pants.
Oh yeah, for sure. Crease pants for sure.
Yeah, starts
Because
down.
because like for a certain age group, for a certain demographic, that ain't never go out of style for them. And we understand that, especially as Southerners. So we could appreciate that. So hands down, it was fresh. And more than that, like my boy hair was cut, you know what I'm saying? He was well groomed, you know what I'm saying? Lineup was nice, you know what I'm saying? Had jewelry earring going on, whatever happened there. Bro, all around, you know what I'm saying? It was all right.
And it was an all-purpose fit, of course. You know, you could wear that to church, you could wear that on a date, you could wear that to a job interview, you could wear that to the club. I mean, you can't really pick an event that you really couldn't rock that. So, you know, I mean, it's a. I understand the difference in generations, but at the same time, though, there is a certain level of like, for that person's generation, that person is fresh. You know, so I feel like a person from our generation could not be fresh, but the fact that he actually did it appropriately, he rocked it well. He didn't, I feel like he wasn't reaching to be too young. I feel like the man was falsely accused of not being fresh, and man, he does not deserve an L. He deserves a dub times two, to be honest. Because not only was he fresh that day, he was able to take a insulting viral moment, or at least what it was pursued to be, and turn it into his a whole new life for himself. If not mistaken, he's gotten an endorsement from LRG since that video has went viral. So I'm not 100% how true it is, but just the fact that he's even getting that much attention just from social media in a positive way, it's a good thing to see. So I like to start off this segment with Mr. Fresh.
Joel Embiid returns back tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He hasn't played since January 30th due to a knee injury. It was speculated he may not return. Some felt as the season progressed and the 76ers and have, as the season has progressed, the 76ers are now at AC currently, um, at 40 and 35, being 3 games away from the 6th seed, which is where the Pacers are. Joel Embiid returning after a knee injury. Do y'all think it's smart to have brought him back for this season?
I think if they got a run at the playoffs, yeah, because I mean you got
What do you mean by run at the playoffs?
if they could get in the playoffs, then you gotta utilize all your weapons at that point, right? If not, you didn't give it your all to really go out there and really try, to win.
I feel like they just didn't want the season to go in vain, and not feel like they, did put all guns on deck. But I do feel like this is just one of those blows that the franchise had to take. They know that nobody technically did anything wrong. They know who the star is and how the team flourishes with him. So, I mean, to be honest, man, I feel like it's kind of putting them back at risk, or even just putting a little bit too much stress on them for no reason. Because around this time of the year, he's supposed to be resting. People can say, "Oh, well, he rested when he was hurt." No, that's rehab. That's you getting back right. That's totally different. Like that's even more work. So I kind of feel like I would have just deactivated him for the rest of the season. Maybe if they were able to stay afloat, maybe like a 4 seed, throw them in the playoffs. But now that you're kind of fighting for that play in now, it's a bit risky in my opinion, man. It's not worth putting out a potential MVP, what a former potential MVP candidate out there to try to save face for the season of a positive wins. I also feel like it kind of takes away some confidence away from Maxey that he could have been developing, because they could have made a run towards the in the postseason without Joel, but hey, we'll never know now. We're just gonna see if how the road is for the 76ers, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. So the 76ers again are the 8th seed. They are fairly a lock at the AC. Saying that, I mean, they have 40 wins, and the 9th seed being the Chicago Bulls have 36 wins. So, like, as long as they don't go on like a horrific 4 to 5 game losing skid, like they should at bare minimum stay at that AC. Above the Sixers and the 7th seed, you have the Miami Heat, who are 41 and 33. And then again, you have the Indiana Pacers, who are 43 and 33.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like that competition is not sturdy enough for you to risk bringing back Joel so early, but I'm done with it.
yeah, 4th seed, the 4th seed is the Knicks. They're 44 and 30. 5th seed, Orlando Magic, 44 and 31. So you have a 4 game differential separating you being at the 8th seed and you being a 4th seed. However, it's a lot. You can't just win. You have to also, you need other teams to lose and stuff to go in your favor for you to possibly climb out of the play-in tournament. But hypothetically, if you don't get out of the play-in tournament and you're a 7th or you're AC, you're standing down the barrel of having to face either the Boston Celtics in the first round or the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round. And I'm on record saying the Bucks ain't losing in the first round, Doc Rivers or not. And then you have like the favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference Finals in like the Boston Celtics. So it's just like is bringing Joel Embiid back like truly an optimistic approach you should have took in terms of rolling the dice, or is like he basically like there's like a dead end, like there's a dead end of the first round that you're not going to surpass whether you bring him back or not. That you're like you got Joel Embiid going up against. Me personally, I wouldn't have brought him back. I think it's a waste. I think it's a waste and a high risk of you bringing him back. I don't think there's no high reward. Y'all not winning nobody's championship. Like if we being completely realistic, y'all not winning nobody's championship. And if that's the most realistic case, what are we bringing him back for? What are we bringing him back for? So
I
that's
feel,
the
I just I feel like, dude, if Tyrese Maxey can't get them to the playoffs in the East in a play-in tournament, I feel like it's just that says a lot about your supporting cast around Joel Embiid. Not saying that they're bad, it just says like you guys aren't ready to even be with Joel to even like flourish. Like you guys need to be able to hold your own at some point. At some way, y'all should be able to like get past some obstacles. And if you guys can't make the playoffs through the tournament, it just kind of feels like you're in the East, you're not in the West. The West is like, okay, I get it. A lot of juggernauts even at the bottom of the barrel. But it's like you guys are in the East, man. Like who would be in the playoff tournament? You said the Chicago Bulls. Who else?
The play-in is the Heat, Chicago Bulls, in order. The Heat at 7, Sixers at 8, 9 is the Bulls, and 10 is the Atlanta Hawks.
Nobody should be afraid of the Hawks, and nobody should be afraid of Chicago. I mean, the Heat playoff time, that's terrifying, but I'm just saying, dude, I'm not afraid of no goddamn Chicago Bulls, dude. You should not be that Maxey, Oubre, Tobias. That should have been enough, but I guess I don't know.
Tobias Harris over me?
Hey, bro, like that. No, that's the only scenario they should be actually obviously be afraid of. But even then, like, just deal with it. Like, you can't beat the Heat. That's kind of that's an acceptable scenario. You didn't beat the Heat without Joel Embiid. Okay, that's playoff Heat. We get it. But you losing to Chicago or you losing to Atlanta, it's like that's just that doesn't compute. Like those teams, they're self-explanatory. They're Chicago Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks, man. Like they're not it. Like when their star player is out, they're super vulnerable. Like that is the core. Is like Trae Young being hurt, or them not the Bulls just being the Bulls. So I guess, like I said, man. I don't think an injury will happen again. I just think a major embarrassment in this playoff run is going to happen now because now you're at full strength and you have no excuses to use of why you're going to lose any game. Then we drop the seed. So yeah, they just create drama for themselves in Philly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Guess it's a real thing.
Over to college. Men's NCAA March Madness tournament. Final Four, NC State going up against Purdue, Alabama going up against UConn. Who are y'all picks to make it to the championship for men's?
I ain't gonna lie, I can't call it. I've been grinding, so I haven't been watching college football like that. So
Basketball.
There you go. That should tell you a lot.
we see the grind.
My man's ain't lying.
Oh, you have any predictions of picks? Black Peace, Rostradamus, as we should say in this regard.
I'm anticipating a show between Purdue and NC State for the big guys. Brute force versus tactical machine. Sit back and enjoy, folks. I can't call it.
Who are you giving?
Mr. Rostradamus can't call it.
Who are you giving tactical machine?
Mr. DJ Burns for sure.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Sir DJ Burns. Because not only is he a big man that can know how to use his body and his force and his weight, the man is a playmaker. He's smart enough to know the advantages. And I feel like people kind of expecting two brute forces to go up against each other. And it's like, what I've seen, DJ Burns is a lot smarter than just brute force. He knows his matchups. And I feel like instead of maybe going at Edey, I feel like it may be circus time for Edey. Like he may go to a circus show this upcoming game, to be honest. Like trick passes, manipulations in the post. I don't even see him scoring a lot of points, to be honest. I think it just may be one of those just like I was outsmarted you type moments. When he played against Duke and he had the Filipowski on him. More flimsy. He knew he could outweigh him. He can. He wasn't the type of person. He didn't even let the opportunity for Filipowski to like really dominate him on a defensive end. So he doesn't have that much pride to feel like, oh, I'm gonna lock him up. That's the smart thing I noticed about DJ Burns. He's like, you know what? I know when to play you. I know when not to play you. And going up against a guy like Edie, you need to be tactical and you need to be smart. So, like I said, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be it's possibly gonna be some future type stuff, man. Futuristic type stuff. The big man is coming back.
Yeah, man. NC State versus everybody. I'm rooting for DJ Burns to put on a show. Man, when you just talk about like obviously the big man has evolved into the Jokic's of the world, the Jokers of the world, and the Embiids. But just like that homegrown, like old school, big man, back to the basket, finesse, elegance, touch, playmaking, like he's just like he's bringing back when you watch him, you just see a nostalgia of the game that we hadn't seen in a long time, and it's a nostalgia and grace with his game that shows you that like, hey, no matter what era you're in, like skill is skill, and it's translating to winning for him and his basketball team. And so I just love to see that just as a basketball purist, as a hooper, a fan, maybe slight bias from friends and family who tell me that when they watch him, he reminds my family and friends of how I, played back when, I was hooping a lot. Um, but yeah, no, definitely root for DJ Burns to take it all away. That matchup between him and Edie, I was talking to one of my good friends today, and he was saying he don't really think they're gonna match up like that. I feel like these are two juggernauts and they have to. I don't feel like they could duck each other on the court going into this game with like their skill set. Um uh DJ Burns, 6'9", Zach Edey, 7-foot tree. Um, you know what I'm saying? This is where I think the game will come down to in terms of like either one of them having success. I feel like obviously Edie has the height advantage, but again, the skill, the touch around the rim, the just knowing like I might not get my shot off all the time in a traditional way, but like I just know how to find my angles to get my shot off, considering like I'm 6'9" and I'm not about to like jump out the gym over nobody, right? And so in terms of talking about DJ Burns, so I think for DJ Burns to be successful, I say you got to do your work early and sprinting up the court, beating Zach Edey to his spot, and just putting an on bar right there and anchoring your feet to be like, hey, you're not backing me down. So Zach Edey, you're gonna have to pull some turnaround jumpers out of your bag, but like allowing him to like sink his feet down into the defense and catch the ball. Um, I think Big Burns, I think he just got to do his work early, try to be, defend without fouling, obviously, and keep Zach Edey out of the paint. Don't get lost in the pick and roll when Zach Edey goes to set those picks at top of the key and then tries to roll out, so he doesn't necessarily have to get the ball off a post up. Um, but again, tactical machine. I think Zach Edey. I would like to see for Zach Edey to like win that battle. And of course, with respects to with Zach Edey and like how dominant he's been. But I'm team DJ Burns, bro. I'm team DJ Burns for sure for the tournament. Um, and I would like to see Bama beat UConn. No specific reason as to why. Just I got family ties in Alabama, so why not Alabama? Roll Tide. Oh, Switching over to the women's. We have South Carolina going up against North Carolina. Shout out to the Carolinas for dominating women's college basketball this year. And then on the other side, you have UConn going up against Iowa, the face of women's college basketball. One would argue once she goes into the league, she could quickly become the face of the WNBA, and that being Caitlin Clark going up against the comeback kid herself, and Paige Buckner being able to come back after injury these past 2 seasons and lead her team back to the Final Four. Black Peace, who do you have, winning from both sides and making it to the championship?
South Carolina, hands down. Who you said they were playing again?
North Carolina. I lied. Yeah, North Carolina State.
There we go. See, I felt like something was a little awful like that.
I was saying North Carolina, but I was thinking UNC in my mind. But North Carolina
Absolutely.
State.
I definitely say South Carolina. That just the system alone is just, and the coach is phenomenal. I really haven't seen NC State, so I'm just getting out the way. I'm a bit biased. Definitely going with the favorite in that one. But when it comes to the Connecticut and
Iowa.
To the Connecticut and Iowa game, I definitely will have to say that I think Iowa's going to beat the brakes off of them. The reason why I say that is because those guys could not stop a rookie in Juju Watson. My apologies, beautiful black queen. Juju Watkins. If you can't stop her from putting up over 25 points, what is there?
What makes us believe you about to stop Caitlin?
Like I mean, she just gave LSU 40. And it just makes you say, like, how much more at this point? Like, it's all about crunching numbers at this point. Like, how much is she going to drop, and how much are they going to win by at this point? Nothing against Paige Buckner and them. It's just like, you let a rookie put up that many points and been that competitive of a game. I don't see it happening with a juggernaut like with Caitlin Clark, who already got the scary part already out the way. Like, she got the scary part out the way. She knows it. Like, that's the one that come with the media attention. That's the one that's coming with the trash talking. That's the one that's coming with all this extra, like, all these extra glitz and glamour. Like, she knows from this point on, it should be a coast as far as attention and nerves and everything else. Like, so she got to get back on the team that beat her last year for the championship. So, yeah, man. Yeah, Caitlin's gonna they're gonna tax that butt. I hate to be so biased on both sides, but yeah. So it's gonna be South Carolina and Iowa. Now
That making this sound really interesting. I love it.
That I have to admit, brother. Sit back and watch it. Once again, sit back and enjoy, folks, because that's coach. That's gonna be a good coach versus player scenario. Because nothing against the coach for Iowa. That's definitely Caitlin Clark's team. So I got to give it a little bit more credit. Give her the LeBron badge. So it's definitely gonna be Caitlin Clark versus the South Carolina coach in the women's championship, and I'm excited for it. Kind of gives me the vibes of LeBron when he went up against the Spurs. Like, great, obviously he's the greatest player on the team. Then it's like, okay, now what do you do against a whole entire team plus a coach? Like, what do you do now? This is an actual franchise. It's a whole, yeah. This is not going to be easy.
You got swept.
Exactly. And I'm now, is that going to be the end result? I mean, that's the thing. But that's what I see. That's the setup. Like, I mean, Caitlin Clark versus South Carolina. Ain't gonna be no versus no other person. It's South Carolina.
So the Iowa and LSU game averaged over 12.3 million viewers, and that is more than every women's college basketball game ever, every ESPN college basketball game ever, every MLB game last season, every NHL game last season, every Major League Soccer game last season, and every NBA game last season except one. I'm not sure what that one game was. Maybe it was a finals game. And those 12.3 million viewers from the Iowa LSU game was more than every college football regular season game last season except one, which is maybe a championship game, either the national championship or like the Rose Bowl or one of those major bowl games to go to the championship. So I believe this record can be topped if Iowa and South Carolina meet for the national championship for a rematch, as they did last season in the Final Four. 12.3 million views for Iowa LSU. You're going over or under this number if Iowa meets South Carolina in the national championship. I say over.
I say over.
If you know, you know.
I'll tell you what. I'm actually gonna say under, bro.
This guy. That's all we love.
No, and it's only because that was for glitz and glamour and for the social media. This one is for actual people that actually like college basketball for girls. Like that's the viewership that's gonna be there. It's not people that watch that other game don't even know nothing about
I disagree.
college girls basketball.
I disagree. I think it's just lovers of basketball, period.
But
which will reflect in the numbers. Because only reason I say that is because I see people saying like, man, I've yet to watch a WNBA game, but I watched because Angel Reese went up against Caitlin Clark. And then last year I've seen, people say the exact same thing and even allude to it even this year. So I feel like if you have the names and the talent is there, especially like on a generational level, which it has been these last couple years, with Paige, Buckers, Caitlin Clark, Juju Watkins, Angel Reese, the list goes on. So I just think people are more locked in and tuned into it. And then you got NIL. People are getting, the main players are getting marketed correctly, even almost to I don't think they overly putting them in your face, but I definitely think NIL is doing what I think it's supposed to do. I think it's marketing, brand image, and likeness of some of your star players in the sport, and then they're capitalizing off of that with viewership, and then power of social media has been so advanced. You got all these narratives and storylines. People just bound to tune in because American people, we just love drama in general. So whether it's in basketball, whether it's in politics, whether it's, whatever the case may be.
But there's no built-up drama coming into it, that's what I'm saying. Like, South Carolina is South Carolina, but not everybody knows who South Carolina is, bro. Like,
what you mean by that? Because I disagree when you say everybody don't know who South Carolina is.
When it comes to college basketball, women's college basketball, people know the players more than the teams.
That's fair.
And that's what I mean. Like, the players are slightly more popular than that actual whole. Like, I know who South Carolina is. I respect them. They've been good for like a nice second, maybe 20 plus years, maybe 15, somewhere in that general area. I understand.
So, but I'm looking at it like I'll fight you on that. I think people know South, like you said. I think you made my own point. I think people know South Carolina just from being a longevity powerhouse, and then you got Dawn Staley as a kind of a celebrity-esque head coach. Would you agree to that?
True, very true. But at the same time, though, like, come on, dog. Like,
I think what you're saying. I think what I think you saying, Darnell, and just tell me if I'm wrong. What I interpret what you're saying is about the viewership and why you're going under on the viewership for Iowa versus South Carolina is because you say, if I say, give me a player off Iowa without thinking, you're going to say Caitlin. If I say, give me a player off LSU without thinking, you're going to say Angel Reese. And the marketability of those two players and the attention that those two players by themselves can draw, you feel like is what contributes to that 12.3 viewership.
Absolutely.
Whereas if I say, give me a player, not Don Staley, give me a player off South Carolina, the casual basketball fan may scratch their head a bit and be like, oh, well, Aaliyah Boston, no, she's in the WNBA now. Like, give me somebody else. So I understand why you say that. I understand why you say that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I respect them wholeheartedly, but it's just like those people that just scrolling down their phones, like they know who Angel Reese is, they know who Caitlin Clark is, they know the big names, like, and they know what they want to see out of them. But if you're going to the South Carolina, you may just be a little bit like, you may be impressed shockingly, but you're not knowing what you're going in to go watch. Like, I mean, they're good basketball players, but what am I watching for? Who am I looking for? It's like when we watch the Iowa, Caitlin, she's gonna shoot it from the parking lot. When you watch Angel Reese, she's just gonna be pretty, she's gonna be talking shit, she's gonna be doing this and that. Homegirl, who went off for 20 points back-to-back games. I usually know her name. My apologies. The guard.
For who?
The guard for LSU.
The guard for LSU. Oh, Morrow?
No, the guard for LSU.
I hope you're not talking about Van Leaf because I ain't never known.
No, I guess you're small. I guess you're forward.
Williams, Michaela Williams.
No, her running buddy.
Bro, okay.
Thank you,
Flage.
Exactly. At least Flage got a little bit more pull. Like, come on, that's what I'm saying. Like, you looking for these players, you know what to expect from them. Flage got some handles, she got some defense, she can cut through the goal. Angel Reese, she can rebound. Get big body, all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what to expect. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes to South Carolina, it's like it's like watching the Spurs.
There's no personalities on the team. It's just more so a team-oriented brand style.
And that's what's going to curve it just under. It's going to be a great show to watch, but it's going to curve it under.
I would disagree with that too, though. I would disagree with that too.
That the people from the LSU and the Iowa game seeing what happened within that game and now want to see what the outcome will be with the championship. Could it not be that those 12.3 viewers will still carry over to the next games along with everyone else coming in from the other teams to make it over?
No. I'm going to keep it a buck. A percentage don't care no more, bro.
Yeah, because it's just like, all right, out of that 12.3 million viewership, right, how much of a percentage we're going to say are like true basketball purists such as myself and y'all who like care about women's basketball? For like the LSU fan base, they're probably like, I'm going by, have a good year. So right. It's just like, what percentage of that 12.3 is going to keep watching no matter what? Now, granted, who knows? You talk about Paige Buckner, you talk about like the alumni and the legacy and lineage of UConn, like that could rival the LSU viewership in terms of just like, marketability. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Maya Moore going to be at the game. They're going to give her a cameo shot in the stand somewhere. So, I mean, but yeah, Sedacious, I think it was more so like the fan bases of those entities and those personalities on the team. I think it was that drove it, as opposed to like basketball purists and people who really love the game. I don't know if I trust that many people who was just introduced to this game this past weekend is going to be like, I can't wait to see what Paige and Caitlin do now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going under.
You're gonna switch to under. I'm gonna take the over solely just off the narrative of like that
rematch,
and also to South Carolina being undefeated, them being like a relatively like young team. Dawn Staley still adding at this point she's a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame player, but her just continuously stepping into that. I won't say Bill Belichick because we know it was mostly Tom Brady, but her stepping into Greg Popovich round, a He's just Nick Saban around, Phil
Jackson.
Jackson type around. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I think that narrative of what South Carolina is pushing towards, I think, is enough to drive that viewership up in combination with Caitlin Clark being Caitlin Clark. I think everybody wants to see Iowa versus South Carolina. I think I told this to somebody today. I was just like, South Carolina is still relatively young, so I hope they don't get upset by NC State. And UConn being depleted, only 8 players. I don't, and seeing how much of a well-oiled machine Iowa is, I don't think Iowa should lose this game. But yeah, it would be very anticlimactic if Iowa and South Carolina didn't reach the championship. And so yeah. Um entertain me on this briefly. Entertain me on this briefly. So Caitlin Clark has the Luka effect in terms of where they're such a nightmare offensively. As a coach, you tend to not want to exhaust yourself and your team trying to defend this one player. So, as we've seen, coaches and teams take the approach of, hey, we're going to let Luka, we're going to let Caitlin get theirs, and we're just going to try to stay home on everyone else. And, you know, if we can neutralize everybody else, then, like, we should be good. Me personally, with all due respect to how great these players are, I tend to feel like that's just like a lazy approach, or that's just an approach you take when you're just all out of answers and saying, we don't know how to defend this one player. So we just gonna say, let them get theirs, but we'll try to focus on everybody else. It was criminal, Kim Mulkey, what you did to Haley Van Leet yesterday and making her guard Caitlin Clark 85% of the game by herself. That was absolutely criminal. Then, even more disgusting, you had the audacity to not give Flau'jae a chance till it was like 4 minutes left in the game when it was pretty much over with. And Flau'jae said in a press conference she was looking forward to that challenge. Horrific coaching by you, Kim Mulkey. And she just told me, Caitlin's gonna be Caitlin. I tell you, it's like, no, like still, but like make her earn those buckets. You know what I'm saying? Van Lee couldn't guard a park car. Like if y'all watched if you watch,
they pointed that out, bro.
Like if
you gotta put some athleticism on the wing,
yes.
bro. Somebody who can slide a feet, stay in front of.
And if you
Van
watch
think that.
if you watch LSU play Virginia Tech this past year,
She low-key sabotaged the game, but I digress.
Georgia A. Moore struggled in the first half of the game against LSU. Had maybe 2 or 4 points. She erupted for 20 points in the first half, and I promise you, I'm not exaggerating. Haley got like 17 of those 20 points in the second half by Georgia Moore, who's a very respectable, prominent guard in the league, in the champion in the NCAA. And if you're a coach and you've seen Georgia Moore give Haley Van Leet 20 points in the first half, what made you think she was going to be able to contain or interrupt anything that Caitlin Clark had going on? Just despicable. And to chunk it up is like she gonna be Caitlin. That just like you didn't even try and you didn't even have like any like the IQ level to even like come up with something. Just horrific, bro. Just horrific. However, our queen Dawn Staley, she had the same approach last year, saying, hey, we went into this game saying we know what Caitlin is capable of, but we believe that if we could not focus on Caitlin, let Caitlin get hers, let Luka do Luka, and just focus on Monica Shizano, we could be all right. Well, they focused on Monica. Monica struggled, got in foul trouble, having to deal with Aaliyah Boston. Monica didn't have a great game. And as a result of letting Caitlin Clark get hers, South Carolina was upset. So at some point, you have to realize letting Caitlin get hers isn't the solution to the no, like you can't avoid her. Like you have to try to attack her, do whatever the case may be.
Does she not draw fouls?
When she drives, she's not hunting fouls. I'll say that she's not hunting fouls. Like there's and I mean, you can't. I won't even say she's drawing fouls when you look at how far back she consistently tries to shoot. That's not like somebody's just like really trying to draw fouls when they're shooting from 40 feet.
I mean, is it we're not? But she is there a theory that she's not doing it on prime defenders when she's doing that? Like, in theory, like two-way players or a person that's needed. She's not doing that on the person that's needed. She may be attacking on the players that's needed, putting them in foul trouble, knowing that she can get it. And the players that can't hold her, she might just put them on the island and just like either shoot the lights out, cross them up, do whatever she really feels like doing. That's what seems like maybe the dilemma is like, you know what? She can actually put you in foul trouble, but she'd rather not if it's not necessary. Because that takes a lot more work. You get what I'm saying? Like drawing that foul, you have to go in, control the ball, get fouled, and try to make the shot. On the other hand, for her, taking a three is like a layup. So I'm not trying to defend. I'm just thinking like, dude, if she's so great, like, why don't you put your best defender on her? And it's like, well, the best defender will end up fouling out, and then next thing you know, you have nobody to defend nobody.
I
don't know.
No, I mean that's a valid point. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think teams are true. Some teams just don't have a good defender to put on her, and like we talking about like women's college basketball, like where most of the time you find like your best defensive players are players who are guarding the rim, and Caitlin doesn't necessarily have to deal with them because she's out shooting threes and jumpers. Like there's not a totality of great perimeter defenders in college as much as it is like you got your 6'4", 6'5", women centers down there to protect the rim. So I say that to your point. But this is what I propose. This is what I propose. It sounds a little crazy, but at this point, you need that to try to deal with Caitlin Clark and trying to defend her. I have not seen this. Teams will take the effort and the approach to try to deny her full court so she can't walk the ball up. Great. I don't know if I can't say I've seen too much of like zone against Caitlin, but what I believe to be the key to not stopping, just simply trying to contain and not chalk it up to let Caitlin get hers. Caitlin's going to be Caitlin's is. One, obviously deny her the full length of the court. Don't let her walk the ball up the court, which forces her teammates to, figure it out on their own at times. That's one. Two, shout out to all the dogs. Two, deny her full length of the court. Two, go over on screens. When she calls a screen, you trap her. Make her force the ball to somebody else. You trap her off the screen. Do not switch off the screen. You trap her off the screen, which will elude her to stop calling screens early on. That's what I propose. And then three, sounds crazy, but again, that's what you need at this point because y'all have tried everything else. Push up on her and play her as far out as she'll allow you to, and try your best to run her off the three. Run her off the three, try to push her into the paint, live with the twos, live with her kicking it, live with her driving it. Dealing with twos is a lot more easier than dealing with an onslaught of threes that she's going to shoot up. So, I mean, they like letting her have her way don't work. Like, and obviously y'all not doing a good job in limiting the others. So like, let's not run away from the challenge of having to defend her and say, hey, we're not going to let her catch the ball. We're going to trap her on all ball screens from the very jump. And we're going to do our best to run her off the three, push her into the teeth of defense, drive kick, get you a label if you want to, but let's limit the threes that she made. If you do that, I think you got a slim chance at being able to contain Caitlin Clark with all due respect to how great and phenomenal she is as a player. That's what I propose to try to limit Caitlin Clark. Do y'all contest to that? Do y'all think that is asinine, or do y'all have any other X's and O's that we could give these coaches, that we could give the Don Staley to possibly win this game against Caitlin Clark, man? Because I just be annoyed. It's like I don't want to say they're not trying and like disrespect their effort out there on the court, because I understand how great they are, but it's just like, bro, letting them get theirs ain't the answer. So it's not the answer, bro.
Can we pivot? This I think this Drake and Kendrick beef is a hoax. I
All
think
rap
it's
beef is a hoax.
I think it's something to rejuvenate the rap game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. None of it's real.
I just want to go on record saying that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Just like the whole Jay-Z and Nas thing. Like they talk crap, they did this, they did that, and but before you know it, they're shaking hands on the stage. And it's like, now granted, was there possibly somewhat animosity? Possibly, but was there any
Right.
real actual hate or like, okay, if I see this dude slipping, it's up? Like, nah,
Right.
ain't that. Ain't nobody on that kind of time
Actual
with that shit.
harm being done to each other.
Yeah, it ain't that kind of time. But definitely like, now if I see you, I'ma definitely like flex hard in you and I'm gonna be like I'm better than you, but nah, that's about it,
Right.
man. Yeah, we're gonna keep it competitive and honestly, man, like I think they need to do it because they see where I think they noticed that one thing I think they've been planning on doing this shit for a long time, but I think they made sure they did it now because they seeing where music is going, and that drill scene is dying out in the worst way possible. I am
Right.
one of the biggest fan of the drill scene, but at the end of the day, they keep dying and keep getting arrested. And at the end of the day, as a fan, I'm losing my fandom because it's like, who can I listen to now live? Who can I listen to some fresh? They either dead or in jail, or got like a load of ops. So it's just like, and at this point in life, like you can't even listen to them because you may run into the ops fans. You know what I'm saying? You jamming, you think you trying to enjoy your life, jamming somebody. Next thing you know, people talking to you because hey, we don't listen to him around here. It's like this guy, you don't even met him. Like he don't know you. Like you have no relationship, but you defend the hell out of him.
Right.
Like
You don't exist to him, and
you ready to spin the block
fanboy.
for him. Yeah, you doing more than
Fanboy.
fanboy. You ready to spin the block for him in a heartbeat. So I think they're trying to get it to where like they're trying to hopefully trying to educate the future rappers and the current rappers and letting them know like, hey man, it ain't gotta be deeper than rap. They can just be rap, just rap, and it's okay. The fans will still love you. The fans will even go crazier. Like we ain't lifted up not one gun, not one over the top post, like no
Right.
threats. We have strictly just talked about each other and kept it, and we have made millions.
Lyrical exercise.
Like we have all got
Hey,
much
did y'all?
clicks.
So there's this page that I follow. I think it's called like I don't know. It's like a fatherhood page that I follow, and so they interview different fathers who are celebrities, rappers, different genres, right? And they asked Pusha T. I was just like, hey, Push, like, with you having your son now, you having a child, recently, do you think you would have went about the Drake beef a little bit differently than you did, knowing what you know now and how it feels to be a father in terms of like the rap beef? And Push is just like, no, I wouldn't have done nothing different. This is war. It's just like, you know what I mean? And that was never going to be any like in the streets gunplay type of beef or nothing. Like, it's like, yo, like this is war. Like this is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um,
Rules of engagement. There's certain rules of engagement when it comes to war, and there's certain like unspoken things, and then you know, there's points of like it may not be part of the rules, but things have already been set. Prime example, been watching a movie called Napoleon, and at a certain point, like they were gonna just battle them, take over the land, woo the woo, keep it pushing. People died. Once y'all retreat, it's cool. But they disrespected Napoleon, and they made it to where, they ignored him and they irritated him. And they say, you know what? When Napoleon came, he came to them and told them, hey, bro, since y'all didn't want to listen to me and y'all didn't want to act like y'all didn't want to respond, we on y'all ass times 10. Like we're not gonna show no mercy, no nothing. And they did. And that's pretty much how it gets like that in rap to a certain extent, bro. It's like it's certain things you don't say, but if you cross a certain line with me, oh, best believe it's up now. Like I'm not gonna like show no mercy. But guess what? It's within the rules of war. Like I may talk about your son, but I'm not about to go out here and try to like make any threats to your son or to you. Like it's not that deep. But I'm definitely gonna get the dirt that's gonna ruin your reputation, not your physical body.
Does Drake respond?
Oh, he does respond. He's responding with he's responding in his own way.
What is his own way? Like, is he gonna like have a direct?
He's playing
maybe
victim,
not
actually.
direct.
To be honest with you, he's playing victim. Say it like that.
Big brother Iron Man is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yes, beautiful people. Our brother Sean Hart Izzo just stepped into the building. Right now, the matter at hand, Izzo, is will Drake respond to Kendrick? You on mute.
No. I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of ironic though, because his response was an actual response mid-concert, and that's really not like Drake. But I think he may let it like live, let it die a little bit, and then as soon as you think it's over, boom, he come resurrecting it again. No pun intended. After Easter. Funny thing, real quick caveat about Easter. Y'all didn't feel like it wasn't actually Easter this weekend? That's a lot of people going around saying this week is actually the week leading up, the Holy Week leading up into the real resurrection. But anyway, maybe we tackle that for another episode on a pod entitled something else, maybe. But all in all, fun. It behooves us as fans, right? But I mean, isn't the great words of George Bush? What the fuck you gonna do about it? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think he does.
I say he'll probably respond on the next project that he's on or the next feature that he's on
I
with
agree
like
with
little
that.
subtle shots. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll do a project and one song will be dedicated to the response to that. That's just how he do. He gonna act like he too cool for this, but then still respond.
Before we get out of here, we spoke briefly about the return of Joel Embiid. Do you think it makes sense? Do you think it's worth the while to try to bring him back for the 76ers?
I mean, you definitely want to try to work him in to get in rhythm before the playoffs. And a funny thing happened tonight. As soon as they put him upon projected sites, I won't say the name of one in particular, but let's just say he played a little hooky tonight. Line was at 24 and a half. Guy gets 24. Very Embiidish. Very Embiidish. Yeah. So a nice welcome back. Yeah, that's crazy. But man, you definitely got to get them ramped up if y'all want to have any chance. I believe in Nick Nurse as a coach, so hopefully they can coach it up around him. But in the famous words of Jimmy Butler, Tobias over me, they still regret that. But
shout out to Jimmy Butler for them 12 field goal attempts tonight, man.
you want to talk about tried and true, and I said that too. I said I cannot put him in no slip. It's like he know what he's.
I didn't nuke it. I just threw a 5-minute to see what it would have been.
Jimmy Butler is officially
Yeah.
Nah, I'd look at it on
I'll take his unders.
And you probably a rich and wealthy man.
Yeah. Under
Nah,
21
man.
PRA is ridiculous. But he
Nah.
went under.
Had 9 points in the first, shoots 3 shots in the second.
What do you know?
Nah.
Nah. Do we have any picks or surgical picks or news or tips to update the people on Izzo? We're gonna wait till the playoffs or we like
Might look like the only thing about doing right now, the board for tomorrow isn't really yet out, so it's kind of hard to project out. And by the time they view this, I don't know if it'll even be palatable
Mhm.
or applicable anymore. But
The line might bump too.
nigga, we could be 4 or 5 days removed from it as well. So football, entirely different story though. But
Right.
Yeah, we'll figure out a system for basketball. We'll figure a system out for the playoffs for y'all for basketball.
All that stuff.
Right. We sure will. We gotta get this bread because we respect the game.
more.
Nah, for sure, for sure. Beautiful people, this is what you call a great episode. We love you, and we will see you next week.